is the campaign head for that division.
No vote will be going to the opposition party. We will give a resounding victory to our candidate, and we are poised enough to do so. We are ready. We have to do everything from everywhere of the division to give their resounding support to the head of state.
And with the return of President Paul Biya and wife Chantal Biya yesterday in Yaoundé after a 10 days private stay in Europe, party supporters are optimistic that the campaign project will speed up. Still in the Grand North, the UNDP candidate Bello Buba Maigari has promised positive change and inclusive governance in Cameroon. He took these engagements while addressing a militant demonstration in the streets of Garoua. Take a listen to him.
I visited not only Adamawa, the east, but also the southwest, the northwest, the west regions, and also I am here to visit the divisions of this region, but also of the far north region. Wherever I went, there was one word: this country needs change. And my candidacy is to tell you that we are ready to introduce change in our country. Change for the better, change for more unity in our country, change for development.
As for Issa Chiroma Bakari, he traveled through Kuseri from Yagwa, where he went for campaign. Arriving in Kuseri on Wednesday, he made a stopover and was received by thousands of supporters in that part of the country, while 12 SDF members who were out to paste posters of the party were arrested in Mundemba. This according to official information from the party, the SDF, despite efforts by the party to get through, the divisional officer who ordered their arrest has said nothing. In the capital city, Yaoundé, the MCNC's presidential hopeful Jacques Bouga Hakbe has intensified his run while meeting everyday Cameroonians to support his ideology. While distributing their campaign flyers, the MCNCs look forward to attempting solutions to the problems they face. Take a listen to some of them.
From now, we are just awakening the people, making people remember that the time has come to change the situation, the time has come to move the Republic forward and move in this situation since around 45 years.
We need the change because we are suffering. We need the candidate that come in will support. So by this year, we know that by the grace of God, we need a change. That's why we will vote different person to assist we because we are suffering.
The objective of our mandate is to permit to each Cameroonian to realize that it's in your country. Every opportunity will be now equal to anyone.
Cabral Libi and the PCRN on their part have announced has a touchdown on Bamenda. This will be the first time the national president would make a major public appearance in the war zone. The UDC candidate Tumaino Patricia Damjoya visited places in Yaoundé like Mesasi, Ngusu, Omispo, Lycée Bilenk, De Sos, Afonyo, Karufumek, Kolbisong areas and so on. With just 9 days left to the polls, Cameroonians have too been centered on the campaign status quo. Gangnadesh in this light captured the views of some Cameroonians on how they were living with the campaign vibes in these soundbeats.
Unfortunately, due to the conflict in the northwest and southwest region, campaigning has not been as rife here. It has been in other parts of the country. The vibe of it, as it should really be, is very, very absent, because even when we do cover campaigns around the southwest region, they are usually in very tense atmospheres.
Cameroonians everywhere, they want only change. The change can come from any direction. Nowadays, when Issa Chiroma goes to the north, goes to Bafoussam, when Buba Maigari goes to north, go to any other locations like the west region too. And when people like Joshua also came to Suza, Bafoussam in the west region, Kumba, the turnout was very massive. All those people turning out like that, are they having voters card? Because their first thing to participate in the elections is by having a voters card.
And as campaigns intensified, posters and other visual tools have flooded streets nationwide. Dr. Pierre Nka is an expert in political matters who analyzes the effectiveness of these.
Campaign poster is for political communication, and the main objective is to help people to identify the candidate. You need to be sure that people can identify you. It is good to have the same color with your ballot paper, because that day people don't want to lose time. I don't know why political communication in our country don't take advantage of our local languages. For example, Kamfrangle. If they don't do it, that means that there is a distance of our society, and when you are distant, you cannot involve many people.
While a door-to-door campaign strategy has been advised to presidential aspirants by political analysts who are campaigning in the war zones, Dr. Bamjo Herman is one of them.
There are some political parties, for example, the CPDM, they will know that these are the candidates who are in possession of their voters' card. They can be able to move from door to door to present their manifestos to these particular persons. The messages must be enticing to permit somebody to come out of his or her house in a day like this. So if you don't have enticing messages, it becomes difficult for them to be able to come out.
Party leaders in the Northwest.
Evans, you also says that state officials have been redoubling efforts so as to have a secure, free and transparent poll come October the 12th.
Yes, Abel, the Minister of Territorial Administration, Paula Tanganji, is currently in Bafoussam to preside over a special administrative and security evaluation meeting in the West region. Thorough examination will also be made to assess how best the administration could play its role in assisting Elekam to fulfilling its mandated role as required by the law, with just 9 days left to the October 12 presidential elections. And meantime, in the Adamawa region, Minat boss Paula Tanganji, who was there, warned opposition distractors to desist from these acts and respect the laws of the land. Hear him in this excerpt.
We are trying just to sensitize all stakeholders and political actors, especially those who are candidates. President Paul has given firm instructions that during the process we should maintain peace and tranquility before, during and after the elections. And the presidential election must go on hitch-free. So it's important for us to manage it properly so that things don't go out of control. And for those who will be tempted to go out of the legal track, they will face the heavy arm of the law, because we will not tolerate anyone to jeopardize the peace and tranquility reigning in Cameroon throughout the process. So we have to take this responsibility to work in such a way that the polls should go hitch-free and the administration authorities should maintain peace and order before, during and after the elections. We should bear in mind that we have Camerooners who don't have anything to do with politics, who are keen to be observers, and that we should not do anything to disturb their tranquility.
Minister Paul Atanganji speaking there in Adamawa region. But as we speak, the minister is in Bafoussam as he is holding a top-notch security meeting ahead of the 2025 presidential election. Evans William Jobati, let's talk about teachers who too are not left out when we talk about politics, and especially the 2025 presidential election. They have been gearing up to these great events.
Yes, Abel, apart from preparations within political parties and institutions charged with election processes, the teaching corps is also gearing up for the October 12 elections through the Educators, Elections Observers, the EOS project, a recently introduced project which charges teachers to act as observers and scrutinizers at the polls. Glory Gange spoke to one of the initiators of the EOS project and now reports.
The EOS project, an initiative led by the collective of teachers organizations in Cameroon, COREG, has as aim to ensure a free and transparent elections come October 12, 2025. Desiree Kapche is a member of COREG. She reveals their level of preparedness just 9 days from the elections proper.
We have reached a certain number of teachers already, and we are preparing for the materials for the election proper. We have already prepared a guide for all the observers of elections of the EOS project. What remains now is to disseminate the mandate with the political parties to agree on who is mandating for who, from the political parties to the teachers.
The trade unionists also highlight some of the measures taken to ensure the success of the project.
Mobilizing people into two groups. The first group is the group of observers. The second group is the group of ambassadors who will be the ones supervising the observers. The second thing we have done is to set a book to guide teachers on what precisely they should do once in a polling station and what is expected from them. We have also gotten a technical partnership with some organizations that organize observers.
Desiree Kapche points out some challenges faced by actors behind the Educators Election Observers Initiative since it was launched last August 2025.
Although we are having some threats, but nothing good comes easy. So we are ready to work on the path of law, and we have produced a memento for the observer. That memento is like a guiding document to ensure that everything the observer in the polling station does goes alongside with the law governing our country.
It is worth mentioning that the promoters of the EOS projects have had meetings with some political actors and candidates of the presidential elections, putting in place terms and mandates to guide the observers at the polls.
Glory Ngange in that report. Over to you, Evans William Jobati. Thank you so very much for this special page. We hope to have you tomorrow.
It's a pleasure, Ebel Bella Samari. Same time, same frequency.
2025 presidential election, that was our special page in the news.
And if you are joining us, you are on to Royal Afternoon Edition, the 2 p.m. newscast, coming to you live from Royal 88.4 FM. In the course of this newscast, a sociologist talked to us about the advantage of non-violence in our society.
It blooms the economy, it blossoms the health sector, blossoms the agricultural sector, even the cultural sector. In fact, the country is going to do a lot of things more than what we can even think.
From politics, we talk economy to tell you that recent figures from the National Institute of Statistics has revealed that cocoa has become the most exported raw material, surpassing crude oil with a significant increase of over 1,000 billion francs CFA in revenue in 2025. But then, to what extent should economists be satisfied with these new turns of things? Jeffrey Tatum spoke to one of them and compared his view in the following report.
Cameroon cocoa exports reveal promising figures as years go by. According to economic experts, this performance is laudable. Chumolo Eugene, economics teacher, reacts.
To an extent, exporting our cocoa to other countries and it getting a greater share in the market, it is an applause for us because it raises our revenue and gives us a strategic position in the world market, which is very important.
Moreover, Seraphim Baga, research analyst at the Cameroon Economic Policy Institute, believes that exporting cocoa abroad comes with some advantages for our economy.
The exportation of cocoa creates a positive balance of trade that may contribute to Cameroon's overall financial stability. Cocoa production and processing also create employment opportunities to Cameroonian youths, especially in the rural areas, thereby reducing rural-urban migration.
But ironically, the success around the cocoa exports might not necessarily be an indicator that Cameroon is moving forward, as Dr. Tumenta Kennedy points out.
It kills incentive to build factories or other industry, keeping the economy dependent on a single raw material. So I believe that high cocoa exports are only truly good if they are a stepping stone, not the end goal. The performance is satisfying only if the revenue is used to build local chocolate factories or certain processing factories.
In the same vein, Chumolo Eugene believes that an overexploitation of our cocoa could hamper local development in the sector.
This cocoa being exported out, it is not really a good thing. If we had actually sit back to use this cocoa and transform it in our own nation, it will give us more benefits than what we are having now.
The National Institute of Statistics reported a record-breaking performance in the cocoa sector within the third term of this year with 1,000 billion CFA francs in export revenue, a figure that stood at 800 billion CFA francs during the same period in 2024.
Jeffrey Tachum in that report. And from economic, we talk society as we tell you that Cameroon and the rest of the world today, October the 2nd, observe the International Day of Non-Violence. A day marks the birth of Mahatma Gandhi, leader of the Indian independent movement and pioneer of the philosophy and strategy of non-violence. It is an occasion to disseminate the message of non-violence within our community and society. This year's theme focus on exploring the role of non-violence in creating a just, peaceful and equitable world. Our reporter Ngang Nade spoke to a sociologist on the advantage of non-violent society and put together the following report for us.
According to Ngwenyi Victorine, peace is a continuum that flows from individual inner peace to family cohesion and cumulates into societal harmony.
When we talk about non-violence, it is very important to note that the advantages of non-violence, they go more than what we can even think. Just that peace alone, it starts from an individual. An individual can only give what you have. So if you are an individual, when you are peaceful from within, that peace is going to divert right to the family and to the society and then to the government. And we will end up having a peaceful society.
The expert underscores the transformative impact of non-violence on societal development as she highlights peace as a catalyst for progress.
We have culture being exposed because we are not violent. We have development of roads, infrastructure. When we talk of infrastructure, we talk of roads, the hospitals, education, the communication network, and what have you. All that because we are non-violent. And then we are going to encourage foreign investors to even come into the country. So it blooms the economy, it blossoms the health sector, blossoms the agricultural sector, even the cultural sector. In fact, the country is going to do a lot of things more than what we can even think.
The sociologist concludes by emphasizing that embracing non-violence can yield advantages beyond just the individual and societal levels, but also in the international scope.
Most of the time, individuals of a country are being regarded as non-violent even when they are out of the country. There are certain countries, especially in this Africa, when you mention their names, they already know they are violent countries, they are war-torn countries, and people wouldn't take them serious. But meanwhile, if you come from a non-violent country, first of all, the people out there, like I want to say in the foreign land, you are being accepted by all, and even the embassies, there are privileges that they give to non-violent institutions or to non-violent countries that they can't give to people, countries, or to individuals or to societies that are violent.
In embracing the principles of non-violence, we tap into the greatest force of humanity's disposal. As Mahatma Gandhi, the advocate of peace, puts, non-violence is the greatest force at the disposal of mankind. It is mightier than the mightiest weapon of destruction devised by the ingenuity of man.
Gangnadesh in that report, and we stay to still talk about non-violence as we commemorate the International Day of Non-Violence. Welcome, and with me in the studio is Fimi Crispin, our Chief of Brigades reporters here at Royal 88.4 FM. Good afternoon to you, Fimi Crispin.
Good afternoon, Abel Bila Samari.
And in the following report, you interview a civil society activist to find out if Cameroon is a state of non-violence.
Cotton Prince-Will Sambit and Eva Etonge-Meyer are both civil society activists. They believe Cameroon is not 100% a state of non-violence.
Looking at it from a very honest and precise point of view, we have acts of violence in the northwest and southwest that has been going on for over 9 years today. We have the Boko Haram insurgency or the jihadist insurgencies in the northern regions of Cameroon. We have internal conflicts, intertribal, hate speech.
While a majority of citizens struggle for peace, the nation faces recurrent and multidimensional violence.
The Cameroon government so far has been doing a lot to tackle the issue of violence in the country. However, Cotton Prince will attest more should be done.
You have the National Commission for Bilingualism and Multiculturalism that seeks to fight hate speech, which is another form of violence. You have the Anglophone crisis. They told us that they've been able to organize the major national dialogue. They've been able to organize other type of forms which are inadequate in resolving these problems. You have the Boko Haram insurgencies in the north regions of Cameroon. We have military people that have complaining day in, day out that they lack enough equipment to help them accomplish this mission.
In order to maintain a state of non-violence in Cameroon, Eva Itonge-Mayer reviews.
Action must be comprehensive, involving the government, civil society organization, and citizens. 3 priority areas stand out. The first thing I can recall is the fact that there must be a concerted effort to integrate the teaching of peaceful conflict management and responsible citizenship into school curricula, university, and community programs.
To Eva Itonge-Mayer, this involves working with traditional rulers and religious rulers to spread the culture of tolerance. It is also crucial to adopt specific laws to clearly prohibit or punish all forms of violence.
Let's now open our files containing what is making news out of Cameroon with our senior reporter, editor-in-chief here at Royal 88.4 FM. Good afternoon to you, Mapala Zita.
Good afternoon, Abel.
Zita, we start in Ethiopia, where you say a church building has collapsed, killing at least 30 people.
The incident happened on Wednesday at the Menja Shenkora Areti Mariam Church in Amhara, northern Ethiopia, as worshippers gathered for an annual event celebrating Saint Mary. Witnesses say several worshippers had climbed up the wooden scaffolding to see a ceiling mural when the support structure collapsed, killing at least 30 people and injuring more than 200 others. According to Teshali Tilahun, the local administrator, the death toll could potentially rise as rescue operations continue on the site of the incident, Abel.
Yes, with you, we move over in Asia, where South Korea's president has apologized to his citizens for an abusive foreign adoption scheme, Zita.
The president expressed regret for a notorious foreign adoption scheme set up after the 1950 to 1953 Korean War that caused anxiety, pain, and confusion to more than 14,000 children sent abroad. President Lee Jae-myung said in a Facebook post today that he was offering heartfelt apology and words of comfort to South Koreans adopted abroad and their adoptive and birth families. This comes just 7 months after a Truth and Reconciliation said the program violated the human rights of the adoptees.
You have more news in your file, and what is it all about, Zita?
In Senegal, Abel, plans are being set up to start the construction of a second oil refinery come 2026 to boost domestic processing capacity. And Senegal is also seeking some $2 to $5 billion in investment for the scheme. In a statement today, the CEO of the National Refinery Company, Mamadou Habib Diop, said Senegal has already received financing offers from potential investors, including China, Turkey, and South Korea. He was speaking on the sidelines of the African Energy Conference taking place in Cape Town, that's in South Africa. And then hundreds of protesters across Madagascar are demanding the resignation of President Andry Rajoelina in a 5th day of demonstrations that have shaken the government. Spurred by the youth-led Gen Z protests in Kenya and Nepal, the demonstrations have been termed the largest the country has ever seen in many years and the most serious challenge Rajoelina has faced since his re-election in 2023, Abel.
And thank you so very much, Mapala Zita. Mapala Zita is our senior reporter and editor-in-chief here at Royal 88.4 FM. And now let's welcome B1 McBrien Dufour, who is here with our Spot 5. Good afternoon to you, Brian.
Good afternoon, Abel.
Let's begin in women football. Coach Joseph Ndoko Brian has been left behind as Cameroon under-17 women's team have kicked off for the World Cup in Morocco.
In a last-minute development, Coach Ndoko Brian, the head coach who meticulously prepared the Baby Lionesses for the World Cup, was declared suspended by the Cameroon Football Federation over allegations of moral misconduct and swiftly named Ndomo Mike Josephine as interim coach. The sudden exclusion of the man who successfully steered the Baby Lionesses through this qualifying round has sent ripples of confusion and dismay through the Cameroon football community and raises serious questions about the management and stability within the national camp just week before the scheduled World Cup at the global stage. Lawrence Kidd, a sports analyst.
Well, I think it's a terrible decision because we know the work he has been doing with the team. We know the transformation that he has carried out in this team, the confidence he has instilled in these players. That if the allegations are true, the federation has no other choice than to sack him, because at this level, FIFA has equally sent an integrity form that all the stakeholders of football have to sign, especially when it concerns the junior categories, be it the men or the women. And once you sign that integrity form and you are found guilty of sexual harassment, you are automatically sacked, and it's rather unfortunate for Cameroon, and it's not the first time that he has been sacked. Well, I think there is always a bond between the coach, his technical know-how, and the players, so I think the team will be hurt, the team will be touched, and it will be greatly affected because we are just a few days into the competition, and he is the mastermind of the technical teams.
And now, Brian, Joseph Ndoko Brian has left behind, and what are the chances of this team without their head coach?
The Baby Lionesses will face a monumental challenge at the FIFA Under-17 Women's World Cup, having been drawn into a formidable group dubbed the Group of Death, alongside continental and global heavyweights North Korea, Mexico, and the Netherlands. The group will definitely feature Cameroon's physical African style, Korea's relentless Asian dominance, Morocco's tactical Latin American finesse, and Netherlands' European tactical quality. In terms of subjective tests, Korea is arguably the toughest team in the group, carrying on their shoulders the pedigree of a perennial contender and former champion, having won in 2008, 2016 and in 2024. Mexico, on their path, are a consistent presence at this level, often advancing deep into the knockout round, while the Netherlands side epitomizes modern European youth football. Despite the daunting opponents, the Lionesses are not without hopes, as they will be determined to return to the Under-17 World Cup stage after 7 years of absence, buoyed by a strong qualification campaign where they secured their ticket with an emphatic 4-1 aggregate win over Kenya. However, the biggest factor influencing Cameroon's chances is not their opponent, but the internal instability, as the immediate suspension of head coach Joseph Brian Ndoko just hours before the team's departure and installation of Ndomo Mike Josephine as interim coach is a profound disruption.
Thank you very much, B1 Mark Bayan Dufour. As you unseat yourself, let's welcome Tumi Bimi Dorine, who is here with a summary of this newscast in the French language. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Ebel. Politique, le ministre de l'administration territoriale est ce jour à Bafoussam. Paula Tongondi préside depuis quelques heures la réunion d'évaluation avec les autorités administratives et des forces de défense et de sécurité de la région de l'Ouest. Objectif, garantir la transparence crédible des élections. Société, ce 2 octobre 2025 est la journée internationale de la non-violence, une occasion d'interroger l'érosion inquiétante de notre humanité caractérisée par la haine, l'injustice et la cruauté. Sur la scène internationale en Éthiopie, l'échafaudage d'une église s'effondre brusquement. 36 morts et plus de 200 blessés. Une annonce faite hier, mercredi, par un média d'État, Fana Broadcasting Corporate. En sport, la Fédération camerounaise de football limoge l'entraîneur sélectionneur des Lions de moins de 17 ans. Monsieur Tungo Ndoko Joseph, motif grave atteinte aux mœurs. La conduite technique de l'équipe sera désormais assurée par Madame Ndomo Mike Joséphine. On rappelle que les Lions de moins de 17 ans sont déjà en chemin pour la Coupe du Monde au Maroc.
And it is with that summary in the French language that we wrap up this edition of our 2 p.m. newscast. The team keeping you company this afternoon. We have Solomon Sana. He is our sound engineer plus our copyright clerk. We have Brian Mbida, our video editor, on our Facebook page, UIFM Cameroon/YouTube page. The news was produced by B1 McBrien Dufo. Mapala Zita did the news editing under the coordination of our Director General, Roger Kiek. General supervision was ensured by Reverend Pastor Bisa Emmanuel Noel. For presentation and editorial coaching, my name is Abel Bela Samari. We keep you in the company of good music right up to 3 p.m. where you shall have the program Mirwa Sutetal presented by Flora Ngoyam, and at 5 p.m. right up to 6 p.m. we are going to have a special presidential slots program called a Presidential and Victrine that will be presented for you by Mapala Zita and Jean-Marie Naba. Stay tuned in the company of Royal 88.4.